Good evening, everybody. My name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter. Today is Friday, January the 17th, 2025, and this is Flosstube number 106. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a channel where I talk about my cross stitch, and if you're returning to my channel, welcome back. Thanks so much for all the watching and following along and subscribing and commenting and all the good things. Just want to preface this and say, if you hear a cat crying forlornly in the background at any point, that would be Mr. Whiskers. He is having a temper tantrum because he wants to go outside. My son and I have started taking Mr. Whiskers and Gracie out in the backyard in the evenings when we get home, as long as it's light out. Our backyard is fenced, but the back of the fence is set really, really low because we back up to like a nature area of the neighborhood. So you could literally, and part of the backyard is elevated, so you could literally step over the fence and get out of the backyard. The cats could definitely clear that fence if they tried. I'm not taking him outside in the dark. There's no way. If he ran off, I wouldn't be able to see him. I mean, he can't run fast. He's like 18 pounds. But now, that's him. And he just sits there and looks out the back window like his life is just torture. He was crying a few minutes ago right before I started recording, but I think he heard me talking, and so maybe he realizes that everybody would make fun of his small, pathetic meow because he's such a large cat, and now he stopped. But if you do hear him, that's why. I told him I would take him out tomorrow when it's daylight. He didn't like that answer. Okay, so let's talk about my stitching. I did not get to all the stitching. As I know some of y'all were like holding out hope, but did not get to all of it, unfortunately. Granted, I did have 3 additional projects on top of what I said I was going to do. And I did mention in a previous video that I may have to start extending Monopoly out 2 weeks. Even though it wasn't like a lot of stitching, I'm going to extend it out 2 weeks. So if you are playing Monopoly along with me and you have already completed your stitches and you are anxiously waiting for the next round, sorry to disappoint you. I would suggest that you either repeat those stitches or you can go check out Alara. I'll tag her video below. She has mayhem going on with her Monopoly game, and you can go do those stitches this week if you're not already. But no new Monopoly this week. I will post a new round next week because the rest of this Monopoly will get completed this week. I also did not get to all of the temperature stitching. I did everything else though. I completed all of my bake-off goals. I was able to get stitches in on all the weekly pieces, and I stayed caught up on a whole lot of latte, like my 100 stitches a day for the Whip of Shame. This is going to be a regular floss tube. Last week I did the vlog style. This one's going to be a regular one because I was trying to do the little blurbs and there was too much background noise. I had my kids last week. There was way too much background noise. I do like the vlog style because I feel like I can show you guys progress a little bit more close up. And if there's anything I want to say about the piece, I remember it in the moment. But this is going to be a regular one, so my night is going to be consumed with filming. It's okay though. Next video will be the vlog style, where I like show the before and afters, like bloop, bloop, bloop. But yeah, so this is my board. And I think with the temperature pieces, I was hoping I would be able to do this and stay pretty caught up. What I may have to do, we're going to see how, because, you know, with Monopoly increasing with the stitch counts as more pieces past go. And me wanting to work more on these weekly pieces down here. I was debating, because I do the highs and the lows. I think what I'm going to see how it goes. But what I was thinking about doing was dropping back down to only 10, but not changing my plans right now. Like, I'm going to keep going with the current 20 that I have, the 10 for the high, the 10 for the low. And if I'm still continuing to struggle staying caught up and my other pieces are kind of getting neglected because I have to do 100 stitches on like 20 projects, what I'm thinking about doing is continuing with the temperature stitching as is, and just do what I can when I can. And then as they hit the 2000, drop off. Like, for example, Hot Cocoa Gnome is the high for temperature 0, and Winter in the Village is the low for temperature 0. So say Hot Cocoa Gnome hits the 2000 stitches, that's going to drop off and not get replaced. It's just whenever A0 in general shows up, I'll work on Winter in the Village instead. And then once it hits its goal, that's when I would still keep the voting part, because I know you guys really like to vote on what I work on. So we would still keep the voting part of that. So it would go to 10 projects, but it's all kind of viewer's choice. Like I said, we'll have to see how the next how it progresses. Or I keep it as is, and I just may not get to all the temperatures. I may only be able to get in like half of the temperatures, and whatever I don't get to, I just don't get to. I don't know. What do you guys think? Y'all tell me your thoughts on that. Should I just drop back down to 10 as projects hit 2000 and just drop back down to 10 overall and just do the highs, but have you guys vote? Or should I just keep going with what I have and just, if I just don't get to it, I just don't get to it. Because the temperature stitching is just extra. It's just like for funsies to get some extra stitches on projects that aren't like in my Monopoly game or anything. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually get to the whips, because we're 7.5 minutes in and I haven't shown you a thing. Let's do the Monopoly stitching I did get to first. My notebook is over there. Hang on. Okay, I need my handy dandy notebook that has my Monopoly in it. My Monopoly. Okay, so for round number 6, I did not get to the cat. Yeah, I did not get to the cat or the dog or the duck. I only did the penguin. I only did the penguin stitches. So, right, penguin landed on short line. Short line is checking the list, it should be. Yeah, okay. So I only was able to do the penguin stitches. I didn't get to the other 3 pieces. So I'm going to work on the other 3 tokens, whips, this coming week, and then we'll do a new round of Monopoly next Thursday when my next Flosstube posts. Okay, so the first one on the list for Monopoly, for the penguin, was stuck in the project bag. There we go. Checking the list. And this is a chart by Charting Creations. Artwork is by Marcelo Corti. It is 280 by 419 and it has 80 colors. This is a grayscale piece with a red Santa. There we go. And this was the penguins, during the penguins kind of first go around the board still. So this only needed 100 stitches, right? Yeah. This only needed 100 stitches. So I got that done. And I am doing this 1/1 full cross on, it looks like a 28 count easy count Lugana with a call for DMC. And this is where I'm at with it. So I'm working in the diagonal from the upper left-hand corner. You see Snowman's face coming in, and I was working on filling in this up here. So, and all of my Monopoly pieces have 4,000 stitches for a goal for them, so you'll see this out a lot more, well, when it gets landed on. So I'm currently sitting at 4,419 stitches completed out of 117,320, and I am at 3.77% complete. I really like this. I'm excited to get to the Santa. Santa. Okay, so, all right, so the penguin had landed on Short Line Railroad, and that was that, and it had rolled doubles. So then it rolled a second time. When it rolled a second time, it passed go. My go piece is Catching Race. When a token passes go, I do 200 stitches on my go piece. When it lands on go, I would do 400. So the penguin passed go, so I did 200 stitches on Catching Rays. This is by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. It is 1,200 by 900 and it has 134 colors. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. God, that's so pretty. This is my biggest project. It is 1,080,000 stitches. 1,080,000 stitches. And so since I passed go, I needed to do 200 stitches on it. I'm going to show you where I worked, and then I'll show you the whole thing. If I can figure, oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So I am doing this 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana. And I decided to convert it into a diagonal. And there is my 200 stitches. So I had this page done, and then I decided, and I had other pages done too, but I decided to convert it into a diagonal. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm in this part of the diagonal here, and I'm going to do full diagonals. So once this one is filled in, I'll come down here and fill in this little blurb right here. But there's my 200 stitches. I am currently sitting at 25,674 stitches completed out of 1,080,000. I am at 2.38%. So the rest of what I've done is here. Let me get these out of the way. Oh my God. Oh, that one goes down there. That's why. Okay. So page 1 is done, and I was doing pages in a checkerboard, and then I got tired of doing that. So look at that. Look at that palm tree. And then you want to see the size of the fabric, because it's like 32 count. So, but it's like really, really big. Oh my God. I can't even like show you guys. Look how much fabric. It's like a bed sheet. I put this on my bed. I have a queen size bed, and I put it on my bed, and it takes up half the bed. Like I could like wear it like a blanket. If I ever get cold, I can wrap up in I can wrap up in it and wear it like a blanket. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, so there's that one. So since the penguin passed go, it can now purchase properties. Yay! And I have, unlike regular Monopoly where the cost increases as it goes around the board, I changed it, and I'm doing a set stitch price. All of my purchase prices are 400 stitches, and there are rules, or it will increase once I have it divided up between properties and then utilities and railroads. So once 11 properties are purchased, their purchase price will increase from 400 to 600. because there's 22 properties total. So once half of the properties are purchased, their purchase price increases from 400 to 600. There are 6 railroads and utilities. So once 3 of those are purchased, those purchase prices will increase from 400 to 600. Rent will be 200 stitches. And then once, where is it? Once a token owns 6 things, either properties or railroads or utilities, once they own 6 things, their rent will increase by 100 stitches. So the rents for that token's properties, rents, railroads or utilities will increase to 300. And if they own multiple of the same color, like if the penguin ends up owning 2 light blue properties, that will also increase by 100. So if they own Oriental, it'll be 200. If they end up purchasing Connecticut, it'll be, both of those will be 300. And then once it owns 6 things on the board, then it will be 400. And if they land on their own property, then it'll be 100. Okay, so it landed on, the first thing it landed on was Mediterranean. And that was Christmas ABC by Designworks. Artwork is by Krista Hamrick. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. I have the O and the P completed already, like the entire block, the O and the P, ornament and poinsettia. And I'm using everything that came in the kit. It's a 14 count white Aida. And then it's got some metallic that's used kind of as accents in a few blocks, and then also as the border of the blocks. And the purchase, oh my God. I'm really hoping that I had the forethought to actually post a before picture, like covering my face right now as I struggle with this. I don't usually do that. We'll see if I change my mind. So purchase price was 400 stitches, and I had to figure out which block I wanted to do. And I decided to go above the ornament and do the eye. So this is my 400 stitches. I is for icicle, because there's icicles hanging off of the roof that will be on here. So there's my 400. I did do a length of the metallic. I cut my metallic kind of short. Oh, I think this was a bit from maybe over here or something, but I did the little bit that I had and brought that border up, and the other edge of the block will be right here, and then it goes up to, I think, right about there. But I was able to get a good amount done. I even started back stitching. And then there's the whole, what I have done so far. The only thing in these 2 blocks here that's not completed are the beads. My plan for the beading is to, once I get up here and I start working these blocks up here, these will get their beads and everything. If they have beads in them, they'll get their beads. But I don't want to be, because I stitch in hand, so I don't want to have it rolled up and I'm like pushing into the beads, because that'll hurt my fingers. So then as I work down and I get back to those blocks again, like in that general area, then I'll go ahead and add the beads. But that got 400 stitches. So now the penguin owns Mediterranean, and that was a double. I don't know if I mentioned that. Roll number 2, DePasco and Land of Mediterranean, that was doubles as well. So it rolled one more time, did not get doubles, thank God, and landed on something. Oriental. And Oriental was Christmas reindeer. And it disappeared. Where did it, I just had it. Where did it go? Where did it go? Do I have? I didn't get to it. That's why. Okay, I didn't do Christmas reindeer, so I didn't get to finish all the penguin stitches. Never mind. All right, so we're done with Monopoly. So we'll talk about what I have to stitch on for Monopoly when I talk about plants. So we're moving on from Monopoly because that was it. Okay. Then next, let's go over my bake-off stitching. Hang on. I keep my bake-off in a different notebook. Okay, so I'm doing a cross-stitch game with the Great British Bake Off. It was started by Jessie Marie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I'll link her channel down below as well. And I will also link down, she did a separate video for explaining her Bake Off game. The current season is over. It's been over for a few weeks. I'm going to keep going, like I'm finishing this season, and then I'm going back to season, well, they call it Collection 5, the first season that's available for us in the US on Netflix. I think that was the first season that it went from, what was it? What was it originally? Like BBC to Channel 4 or something like that. I don't remember. When it changed like networks, that they had to take the old stuff off. And so I'm going to go back to that first one once I'm done with the current season, and I'm going to continue with the Bake Off stitching with that, because I seem to get really good progress on stuff with it. Okay, so I was working on week number 9. That's the, what do they call that? The semifinal? Quarterfinal? I don't remember what they call it, but it's the second to last episode. So with my Bake Off, not going to go into all the rules because I'm going to link Jessie Marie's thing down below. Well, no, I guess I have to, but I'm going to talk about it in plans. I'll talk about it now. So I kind of did combine the two versions of Jessie Marie's Bake Off rules that she had, because she had one that you used multiple whips, and then she had one that you did a monogamous thing where you only had one whip. But I combined the two because I wanted to have like one main focus for Bake Off, but then I wanted to throw in some stuff that I could work on to get done. So my main stuff is all on Honeymoon Sunset, and then my technical stitches for the technical bake, those are 2 different whips that I use for that are supposed to be work on until they're done, like close to a finish. So if anybody gets a handshake, it's going to be 500 stitches on Honeymoon Sunset, and then I have 100 to 1200 randomly assigned to all of the bakers. If they get eliminated, their stitch count goes on Honeymoon Sunset. If they get star baker, their stitch count goes on Honeymoon Sunset. And then my technical stitches, the formula is currently n times 50 and n times 100. N is the number of bakers remaining. So in week number 9, there was 4 bakers left. So it was 4 times 50 and then 4 times 100. Whoever came in last place got the 4 times 50. If their stitch count started with an even number, then I have a whip assigned to all of the people that have even number stitches. And if their stitch count, assigned stitch count, is an odd number starting off, so like if it's 300, 500, 700, there's a separate whip assigned to them. So whoever gets last place, whoever gets first place, I look and see if they're even or odd, and then that whip gets those calculated stitches. So week number 9, the person who came in last place in technical had an even stitch count, and the one I have assigned to the even stitch count has been my Calendar Girls series from Little House Needleworks. Looking for my current one. Here it is. I recently finished Calendar Girls September, and then I had one more that I had already started. So I moved on to that one. So it was 4 times 50, so it was 200 stitches, and this one is Calendar Girls May. And like I said, this is from Little House Needleworks. This was from 2014. There's a series they had in 2014. And I am using the called for DMC, and I'm doing it 2/2 on a 32 count Legacy Lugana from Picture This Plus. And this is where I got to on her. So I filled in her cheeks. Her eyes and her mouth still need to be put in. And I decided to work on her dress because that's a lot of 712. And I don't like stitching the same color over and over and over again on stuff like this. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and break it up. And I did. So I did the cheeks, and then I put in some of the red flowers in the bottom part of her dress. I did some of it just so I had something to count off from. But yeah, so there's 200 stitches on her. She will stay in the Bake Off stitching until she is completed. And I'm thinking that because after she's done, I have the rest of them, like I finished a few of them. I have the rest of them that I have, the ones that have not been started. I've been debating on if I will just keep the Calendar Girls in this rotation, and just once this is done, I start on another one. It would be technically a new start, but all of them are less than 2,000 stitches. So I'm kind of on the fence about if I'm going to keep them all and just count them as new starts or what I'm going to do. I don't know. But for right now, Calendar Girls May is in there until she's done. And then the one for the person who came in first place in technical, they had an odd stitch count, and so it was 4 times 100. So the odd stitch count, the odd whip for technical is Grinch Gnome and Company from Maya Stitch. This is a mock-up on Pattern Keeper without the back stitching. So that's what it's going to look like when it's done. I forgot to tell you the dimensions of the Calendar Girl piece, but you saw it's not very big at all. I don't remember how big it is. Actually, it's sitting right here. Let's back up to Calendar Girls May real quick. I can tell you how big she is. Maybe. 46 by 67. I mean, they go pretty quick too. So that's why I was kind of thinking once May is done, maybe whatever month I'm in, or maybe whatever one I want to start, I'll just like start another one and just keep going until I finish them all. Okay, so Maya Stitch, Grinch Gnome and Company. This one goes to the odd stitch count bakers. And this piece is, let me tell you the size, 151 by 79. So 4 times 100, this needed 400 stitches. I'm doing it with the called for DMC 2/2 on a 28 count white Monaco. And this is where I got to. So my little guy in the middle was already done. And I decided to go over and do the Grinch one that's on the left. And this is in Pattern Keeper, so I can tell you a percentage for the cross stitching. So cross stitching wise, I am currently sitting at 1,638 stitches completed out of 5,472, and I am at 29.93% complete. So my plan is as this continues, I'm gonna like get him all cross stitch and then back stitch him and then move over to the final one. And then this one will be done. I have one more gnomes piece that I could replace. I have Autumn Gnomes by Maya Stitch as well. And I could replace, that was the pattern. I could replace, once this is done, I could replace this with Autumn Gnomes, but then after that, like I don't really have a lot of pieces that are like really close to a finish anymore. I got them all done. So now I'm kind of back to the drawing board trying to figure it out. Okay, so my main stitching for Bake Off. The person who was eliminated, there was no handshakes in week number 9. The person who was eliminated had a stitch count of 100 stitches, and the person who got Star Baker had a stitch count of 1,200 stitches. So this needed 1,300 stitches total. And like I said, this is on Honeymoon Sunset. It is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. It is 869 by 649. It has 133 colors. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm doing this with all the called for floss. It's so pretty. I'm doing it with all the called for DMC, 2/1 half cross on a 25 count easy count Lugana. And I'm just going to show you the part I worked on first, and then I'll show you the rest of it. So there's where 1,300 stitches got me. Filled in a lot of the trees that are above the house there. So that's nice. And it's super exciting because this right here, wait, is that it? Or yeah, this area right here, this is the lighthouse coming down. So that's exciting. We're getting into the lighthouse. But yeah, that's where I worked. And I'm currently sitting at, I thought that was a line. It's not a line. It's just shadows, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I'm currently sitting at, I'm going to show you the whole diagonal. And then I'll show you the rest of it. Okay. 219,935 stitches completed out of 563,981. I did more than 1,300. I actually did 1,368 stitches because when I hit 1,300, I was at 38.99%. So I kept stitching until I hit 39. So I am now sitting at 39% even. 39.00%. My goal is to get this to 50% by the end of the year. And as long as I can get each month, if I can increase it to the next percent, I will hit that by the end of the year. So that's exciting. We're only halfway through January and I'm already at 39%. So the rest of this month is like bonus to get to the next one. So here's the whole thing. Tree from Hell, working in the middle, got my corner I'm working in, I can't see, got stitches down in the bottom down here, got my flowers down in the bottom corner. So I'm doing this 2 diagonals at a time so I can see more stuff. I was doing 20 stitch wide diagonals and then I decided to do 40 stitch wide diagonals because I wanted to see the stuff faster. So I'm doing 40 stitch wide diagonals. So I'm just doing 2 diagonals at a time in Pattern Keeper and it's looking really, really good and I'm happy with it. And I'm excited because this is the bottom. This is the bottom of the diagonal I'm currently working on. And that's the bottom of the page, or the piece. That's the bottom of the piece. So my next set of diagonals is going to be, let me see, hold on. I want to say it's going to go down to like maybe there. I think it's going to go down to like maybe there. So, and then my current diagonal, I think, ends right about here. I got stitches in the, I almost said the roof, the sky, all the way across. So it's hard to tell where it's going to end really, but once it hits the bottom corner here, all the diagonals are going to be the same length until the diagonals hit this corner up here, and then they're going to start shrinking back down. So that's exciting. So as long as I can increase this by, I'm going to keep doing it for Bake Off. And if it starts getting to be maybe the last week of the month and I have not hit the next percent, so like my goal for February is to get it to 40%. Because increasing it by 1% every month, when I started in December, I was at, when I did my whip parade, I was at 37.5%. And when I did my whip parade, and that was in December. So I was like, well, there's 12 months in the year. No, I was at 38. Anyway, I figured out that if I increased it by 1% every month, I would hit the 50%. So maybe it was at 38.5% in December. And yeah, because we're in January, I hit 39. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Yeah, so 12 months in the year, I was at 38. Yeah, so increasing it by 1% every month, I'll get to 50%. So, if I'm nearing the end of the month and I have not hit that percent, I'm going to figure out how many stitches I need and just go ahead and do them because I want to stay on track with that. Okay, so that was Bake Off. And then let's go over my temperature pieces, the ones I was able to get to. I'm not going to say what was what, like this was for 0, this, I'm just going to let you know. I will let you know if it was for high or low. We'll do that. We'll do the lows first because that's what I picked up. So first up for the lows is Winter in the Village. These are the ones that you guys voted on. Winter in the Village by Stony Creek Collection. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm using the called for DMC, and then there's one fancy floss that I have. I just haven't put it in yet. Actually, this one, there's two. There's a silver petite treasure braid. I have that. I just have not put it in yet. But it only goes in a tiny little part. This needed 200 stitches, and I got that. I'm doing it 2/2 full cross on a 28 count even weave in the color Summer Sky. Yeah, I got 200 stitches. Actually, I should have shown it like this over here because I worked in this building over here. So, yeah, it's looking really cute. I like it. So there's that one. And then another one for the low temperatures was, where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Sugar Cookie House. This is a Mill Hill kit. So all of the low temperatures are the viewer's choice stuff, the stuff that you guys wanted to see out of the options I gave you. Okay. Mill Hill kit, Sugar Cookie House. I'm using everything that came in the kit. And this also needed 200 stitches, which I did. And that is where I'm at with it now. So it's on a 14 count perforated paper. I have some beads in, but that's not what I worked on. I worked on mainly, I finished off these threads over here. I think I had a thread over here somewhere. I think it was right here that I finished off. And I was working over here in this corner. So. And I think a few scattered stitches here and there. But yeah, so this got 200 stitches. If I ever have the time to sit down and sort these bags of beads, I'll do the beading as I go too, but I haven't had that. I haven't had the time. Let's see. Merry Christmas was another low temperature. This is a kit from Artiste, designed by Cooler Design Studio. You might be able to get this on Cooler Design's website as a PDF. But that's what it's going to look like when it's done. I really, really love this piece. It's so much fun to work on. It's so much fun to work on. And this needed 100 stitches, and I'm using everything that came in the kit. And that is where I got to with it. So I finished cross-stitching the heart that the snowman is holding, and then I did a length of back stitching to get that part done. So I back stitched around the heart, and I back stitched his arm there, finished it off going up his head, and then I was working on his little vest over here. So there's that. That's my favorite one right there. The frosted gingerbread cookie. That's my favorite. Even though there's French knots in it, it was still a lot of fun to do. Okay. Ah, I dropped my stuff. And then the last temperature for the low that I was able to get to. Oh my God, I can't get this back in here. Hang on. Like the cover sheet for this like fits in just perfectly. So I can't have anything at the bottom of the bag like blocking it. Okay, the last one for the low temperatures that I was able to get to was Cookie Time. And this is by Soda Stitch. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. Somebody has suggested that, because I'm working in this right here and I couldn't figure out what was in that jar. Someone has suggested that they're macarons, but they don't look like it. When you look at them and you look at the back stitching, it doesn't really look like that. Plus it says candy above it. They look like the giant jawbreakers. That's what they look like. So anyway, I do have this in Pattern Keeper, so I can give you a percentage of the cross stitching that I've done. I'm doing it with the Call for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count white Monaco. And this also needed 200 stitches. So that is what I did. And I mainly worked, well, I think I did a length of white here. I worked mostly up here in the lid, and then I think I did a little bit over here just to get the last little bit of stitches done. And with this piece, I didn't give you the dimensions of this. It's 156 by 198. I don't have it for Merry Christmas or Sugar Cookie because I didn't do Winter in the Village either. My bad. All right, forget it. We're moving on. I'm looking for it on Pattern Keeper, so you can just look at this and ooh and ah. Okay, I am currently sitting at 1,642 stitches done out of 15,173. I am at 10.82%, not counting back stitching. Once I get the cross stitching in this done, I'm going to back stitch it before I move on to another thing. All right. So those were the low temperatures I was able to get to. The highs. Okay, first up is Artist Kitchen. So these are the ones I picked. First one up is Artist Kitchen. This is a full coverage piece from Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Jacek Jurka. And I got the max color version. It's regular size max color. It's 450 by 406. It has 238 colors. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. And so I think last week I had said, well, it only needed 100 stitches, and I was like, I needed 100 from the previous week, and I was like, well, if I can get to it, I'll go ahead and do those. I just left it at 100. So I did my 100 stitches for this week, and I'm doing it with a call for DMC on a 20 count Aida. And this is where I'm at. Hopefully you can see where I worked. I worked like in this area right over here. I still need to frog this out, but I'm currently sitting at 2,418 stitches done out of 182,696. I am at 1.32%. So I still haven't quite figured out how. I did a center start on it because my fabric that I received for this was cut crooked. It'll fit, but the top of the fabric kind of, well, I guess it would be bottom too, kind of goes, like kind of goes at an angle. But at the shortest point, it does fit. So I started in the center, and I haven't quite figured out how I want to, like, it's not really speaking to me how it wants to be stitched, if that makes sense. Okay, and then the next one up is Mother Nature's Spring. And this is from Just Cross Stitch Magazine. This was from 2023. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I do not remember. Do I have it in here at all? I don't remember which issue it was. It was like the March of 20. No, I don't have it in here. I want to say it was like maybe the March issue of 2023. And it was designed by, oh, I do have that. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Perry Haiti of Stitchora. And I'm doing it with the Call for DMC 2/2 full cross on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. And she needed 100 stitches. And this is where I got to. I didn't get to the back stitching and the flower wreath on her head like I wanted. I took one of the colors in her face and just brought it down, and then I took the next color in her face and brought it down. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been kind of starting with a stitch up, whatever stitch is closest to the flowers, and just working that color through. And I was doing all that. So once that gets filled in up there, then I can do the back stitching around the flower wreath, because there's a lot of back stitching in it, so I don't want to leave it all for last. And I think once I get the back stitching on the flower wreath done, I think what I'd like to do is bring the hair out more, because there's two birds out here holding her hair, like flying in the air, holding her hair up. And I want to get those done because that's going to be really cute. So then the next one is Patchwork Quilt Room. This is another full coverage piece from okay, there it is. Okay, this is another full coverage piece from Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Ciro Marchetti, I don't know, however you say it. Regular size, max color, 700 by 490. It has 238 colors, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. I did an upper left-hand corner start, so I am working. I'm working up here. I'm doing it with the Call for DMC on a 2/1 full cross on a 28 count easy count Aida. And hopefully, I think you should be able to see my progress. That's where I'm at with it. So I've been doing symbols block by, like, going down the 10 by 10 block. I'm going to stop at the page and kind of then fill that page in. So you should be able to see my progress, because I filled in a lot of this area that was right over here. And I'm currently sitting at 7,159 stitches completed out of 343,000. And I am at 2.09%. So there is that. And then the last temperature piece that I was able to get to was Spa Gnome. It's Spa Gnome is by cuteboardery.com. And that's what she's going to look like. Oh, I have this in Pattern Keeper. What am I doing? Let me just pull her up and I'll show you the mock-up without the back stitching. That's what she's going to look like, plus back stitching. And she needed 100 stitches. I'm doing it with the Call for DMC on a 14 count Charles Craft Aida that I picked up at the craft store. I got they come in like printed, it's printed Aida, and this one is on like the pinky purpley one. So, well, let me show you where I worked. So I got 100 stitches in. The cross stitching I did up here in her towel because I'm trying to kind of work on that a bit so that I don't end up with a bunch of like white and gray in the towel, and that's all I have left to do because I'll be really mad at myself. But I also went ahead and back stitched around her cucumber eyes and just got that done. So she is currently sitting at 2,544 stitches done out of 5,479, and she's at 46.43%. So she would be one that could go into once, maybe. She might be a contender for the technical stitches for Bake Off once her temperature goal is done. We'll have to see where she's at. I think she might fall right along the lines of, actually no. I think she'll fall right along the lines of where Grinch Gnome and Autumn Gnomes are, where they still need like a few thousand stitches to get done. I don't know, we'll have to see. Okay, next up is, I always start off with my Whip of Shame and I didn't do that this time. Next up, we're moving on. So that was all the temperatures. We're gonna move on to the weekly stitching. So first one up for the weekly stitching is my Whip of Shame. These are all pieces I've had for decades that have not been finished, and I need to finish them. Except for this one. This one, I just hate working on it. So you guys are kind of forcing my hand because these are pieces that you guys vote on. But this is a Whole Lotta Latte by Dimensions, designed by Barbara, I don't know how to say her last name, Tortolo. But that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And so my goal is to do 100 stitches a day for the month of January. FYI, we are halfway through the month, so guess what that means? We are going to draw new contenders for you guys to vote on for February's Whip of Shame. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited. Okay, so I was able to stay caught up on it this week. I did not want to do a repeat of December where with 3 bird watchers I had to do like 1,200 stitches in a week to catch up and get my goal done. I've been staying caught up on this because I knew if I fell behind, I would not catch up. So I've been caught up. I'm actually ahead, I think. But I'm going to just hold it back here because I worked all over the place. So I did a total of 861 stitches on this. I do not remember where I worked entirely. I know, I don't think I worked at all in the border. I do not remember if I think this was here last week. Pretty sure that was there last week. I don't think I worked in the border. I know I worked some in the saucer of this cup here, and I got the green, pretty sure. I worked in the green here. Pretty sure, not 100% sure. Pretty sure. I did 100, one of my 100 stitch days, I did the back stitching. Can't you see the back stitching, how it brings out so much detail? That's why I was irritated that there was back stitching on this, because it's black back stitching on black fabric. You can't really see it very well. And I'm trying to get you guys close too. But I did the back stitching on the handle of the cup, and then I brought it, the top of the cup is back stitched, and then I finished that thread off going around this part of the saucer because this cup's saucer here is done. I did a lot of work in this cup over here because that was the cup with the least amount of progress. So I know I did a lot of work over here. And this one is completely done. I completed this one in its entirety last week. So this one here, I did do some more work up here as well. So we're making progress. I think the back stitching on this piece is dumb. It's dumb. You can barely see it. But I'm still gonna do it. Okay, so 861 stitches on that. Okay, and then there it is. Okay, my full coverage to 1%. I have 15, 18 full coverage pieces that I've started that are not at 1% yet. I wrote them all out. I picked 5 of them at random, and after I picked them, then I calculated how many stitches it would take to get to 1%, and that is my goal. Once one of these 5 hit the 1%, I will then replace it. It will go into my other whip bin of stuff I'm not actively working on. It will get replaced with another one from my list. I have my, where is it? Hang on, I know I have this written out somewhere. Did I write it out in this notebook? I don't know if I did. It might be in the book that's on my desk over there. Yeah, it's in my book on my desk over there. So I have like 18 whips. Once one of these hits its goal to get to 1%, then I will replace it with one of those other ones. And once I get pick the one that I want to work on, then I will math out how many stitches that one is. I don't want to do the math ahead of time because then I'm going to always want to pick ones that are lower so I can get through them faster. Then I'm going to get stuck with like 5 that need like thousands of stitches. We don't want that. Okay, so the one I worked on this week was from Charting Creations. It's called Beach Getaway. It is 325 by 490. It has 101 colors. It's a licensed image from Shutterstock, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. I am in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm doing it 1/1 full cross on this, like, I don't know what the count is, I just know this fits. Some fabric I picked up on AliExpress, and I was able to put in 218 stitches on it. And I am currently sitting at 1,118 stitches completed out of 159,250. I am at 0.70%. So we're making progress on it. My goal for this was 693. I knew I wasn't going to hit that, but I did do 218, so that's cool. Okay, then my non-full coverage for the week is from the Cross Stitch Studio. So I have the full coverage to get it to 1%. Then I picked 5 of my non-full coverage pieces that were not in Temperature or Monopoly, and the goal for them is to do 4,000 stitches. Once they hit 4,000 stitches done, then I will replace them with another one of my non-full coverages. So my non-full coverage for this week was Christmas Cupcake by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Anders Eisman, and it is 300 by 315. It has 91 colors. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's got the dark green background because this is a no background piece. So it's technically not a full coverage. So pretty. I'm doing it with the called for DMC, 2 strands full cross on a 20 count Aida in the color Palomino. This was a fabric of the month from Mystic Fabrics in December of 2023. I did a center start, and I'm working on it kind of funky, but I think it'll look really neat once I start getting out more on the project. So give me 1 second. My before picture should be plastered over my face while I fight with this. That's where I'm at with it now. I did 200 stitches on it, and I'm currently sitting at 825 stitches completed out of 67,748. I am at 1.22%. So what I'm doing is when I started this piece, I was just kind of working randomly on it. That's why I got these green stitches going up this way. And then I was worried I was going to lose my place, and I was going to miscount. So I went back to the center of the piece, that center block, and I filled it in, and then I started parking. And so then what I did then was I think this was a center block, I think. But I'm going to do block by block going in circles around it like this in a spiral. So, okay. So this one here was the center block. Yeah, this one right here. And then I came over here and I did this one. And then I came up here and I did this one. And I came over here and did this one. And now I'm finishing off. This is the one that I got to when I hit the 200 and I needed to stop because I wanted to move on to something else so I could try to get more progress on other pieces. So this will be the next block that I work on. And then once this one's done, I'm going to come down here and do this one. Then go around here. And then I'm going to work out to this way and then go up again, up here, and go across and just do it like that. So it's not really more like a spiral. It's more like a square, I guess. I guess it's more like a square than a spiral, but I'm working in kind of a circular fashion, if you will. So that's where I'm at with that. And then the new starts. Okay, so my new starts, what I was doing was every week I was pulling one new start per week until I hit 5. Once I hit 5, then I was just going to pull from those 5 and rotate through them until they got 3,000 stitches. So the one for that was Cake Shop. And this is, so I'm in that pull from those 5 because I hit the 5 new starts last week. So the one I pulled from the 5 that I've already started for the year, quote unquote, is Cake Shop. This is a retired chart from Pain Free Crafts by Steve Crisp. It is 600 by 450. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I really like this piece. Yeah. I started in the upper left-hand corner, so that's where I'm working. Over here. I'm doing it 1/1 full cross on that same fabric that I'm doing Beach Getaway on, the mystery fabric from China. It's like the only thing I've ever bought off AliExpress. I bought a huge ass piece of it, and so I'm just like cutting pieces off as I need them for projects. But this is where I'm at with it now. And I did 228 stitches on it. I am currently sitting at, where did it go? Here it is. 528 stitches completed out of 270,000. I am at 0.20%. You can see I got the first like jars starting to show up in there. So that's exciting. I haven't really figured out how I want to work on this one either. I'm just kind of picking symbols and just working that thread until it gets done. I'm still all about my diagonals, but for some reason, some of these projects are just not speaking to me in the diagonal. I don't know. Okay, so the reason I started snickering when I said new starts is because I was feeling the FOMO, and there was like 3 start-alongs that were announced for the month of January, and I had the stuff to do the new starts. So I decided to go ahead and do them. And of course, they all happened to be the same week. Well, one was last week technically, but it was the same Flosstube week because last week I filmed on Thursday. So the first one was for Thursday, and then the next one was Monday, and then the next one was Wednesday. So the first one up that I did a start along with was for the Snape's Library Sal. I don't really post on Instagram, so I didn't put it on there. But I know that Leanne from Small Town Stitches, I heard her talk about it, and I think she's doing it with like other people. Dawn Marie, maybe? Somebody else? I don't remember. But this is by the Cross Stitch Studio. It's 800 by 800. They were saying that you can do any of the libraries, but I have Snape's Library. I already had fabric cut for it. It was sitting in my bin waiting to be started. So I went ahead and said, let's go ahead and start it now. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And it ain't going to look like Jack right now because, first of all, I only did 100 stitches on it. Second of all, it's like 500,000 stitches of 939, all in the same, all in the corners. It wouldn't have mattered what corner I started in. It's all 939. There, can you see the detail? I'm doing it 1/1 full cross on, I think, a 28 count easy count Lugana. I have 100 stitches completed out of 640,000, and I am at 0.02%. There are so many stitches of 939 that the number doesn't even show. Now, if you go to the list, it does. Let me zoom out so you can see how much there is. $231,824 stitches of 939. Look at that. And there's my measly little start up in the corner. So I think when I do pull this out to work on it again, I think I want to go kind of across the top so that maybe I can get, they're all dark colors, but maybe I can get to something other than 939 if I just work my way across the top. So there's that. Leanne did that too. She's doing Snape's Library as well, but she did 1,000 stitches. She like shot past me. Now I will say, if I did not have as many pieces to work on this week as I do now, like if I just pulled like what did I used to do, like 20 projects, I could have gotten way more stitches done. Okay. Okay, so I'm skipping the one I did on Monday. I'm going to show you the one I did Wednesday first, because my Monday one is special. Okay, next up is, I do not remember who I heard all about. I heard Leanne talking about the Snape's Library Sal. And I kind of heard it in passing, and I'm like, oh, I have Snape's Library. Maybe I should do that. And then I was watching Yoshi, and he talked about all 3 of them. And because he's doing the one for Monday, he's kind of doing like a start along for the one that I did Monday. And I do not remember who he said. I think it's somebody on Instagram. I do not remember if they have a Flosstube or not. They're doing like a Hawk Run Sal start along, really, for me, because I don't do Sals. But this was my pick for the Hawk Run one. And this was Wednesday. And I think it was like stitch on any Hawk Run piece that you have. So I'm doing spring at Hawk Run Hollow. And I decided to do, I didn't want to do it skinny. I did decide to do someone has suggested kind of making it fatter. And when you flip it over, it does show that. So I'm going to do it like this. And then my other dilemma was that it doesn't show you how to extend the top part across. Not really that that's a dilemma, but when you look at the overall piece, it tells you the full dimensions, right? But when you flip it over, it's like there's that, but it doesn't have this extended. And when you look at the measurements, if you're not doing it just like this, you don't know how big, they don't tell you the dimensions of this. They tell you the dimensions of each block. They're 92 by 92, but it doesn't give you the dimensions of this part. So I was like, well, how long do I need to, so I couldn't figure out where I needed to start is what I was trying to say. So I said, well, I'm going to pull a Stewart. I'm going to start in the bottom left corner, because that's where Stuart likes to start from Stewart's and Stitches. He always does bottom left corner starts. And I decided to do it like him. So I'm using DMC. I'm not doing the, what is it, the MPIs or something? I don't remember. The fancy floss that it calls for, I ain't doing that. I'm doing DMC. And I'm doing it on a 20 count Aida in the color Time Worn. It's a Fabric of the Month by Mystic Fabrics. And this is the fabric. I thought that would look really good. And so, oh, I'm showing it the wrong way. I'm still showing it the wrong way. There we go. So I did a bottom left-hand corner start. So this is actually block number 10. The Farmer Planting Seeds. This is the block I started. And I only did 100 stitches on it. So yeah, so there's that. All three of these new starts are going into my new start basket, like where I'm pulling from those 5. These 3 are going to go into it as well. So I'll really have 8 new starts to pick from. Okay. My last new start. So this is the one that Yoshi decided to start. And I'm going to tag Yoshi and Leanne down below, because they'll be able to explain the cells better. I'm doing a really crappy job. Okay, so Yoshi decided that he wanted to do a chatelaine start along. So I decided to join in. I have 2 chatelaine patterns, but one of them needs a giant piece of fabric, so that one's gonna have to wait. But the one that I was able to get fabric for was Deep Blue Sea. I will have to insert a picture of what it's going to look like, because I do not have that printed out. I am not doing the called for thread. I did a conversion because I did not want to try to hunt down the Glorianas that were called for. So I did a conversion. And did I do a video showing what my conversions were? No, I didn't. But it's all it's a mix of silks and cottons, from Silks for You, mystery colors that I had that don't have a name, and some classic colorworks. And there are some dinky dyes and petite treasure braid that I did get those, because I can get those easily. But yeah, these were, well, I still have some in the bag, but oh no, I dropped one, but I did a conversion. So I have them marked, like, well, I can show you an example. So like for the Gloriana Sierra Haze, I'll try to put a picture in of what the Sierra Haze looks like from what I could find online. But I'm replacing it with a Silks for You that I had in my stash. And this is PR081. And I checked, and all of like how much floss was needed, and it's all less than like a length, like it's like 0.4, 0.5, whatever. So I'm hoping that it's not like 100-yard hank of Gloriana. You know what I mean? Hopefully I'll have enough, but you know, if not, I'll figure it out. No big deal. It's my piece. So I'm doing it with my conversion, 2/2 on a 28 count black Jobelin. Doing a chatelaine on black. And let me make sure I show you the right way. I didn't do an up arrow because right now I kind of know where I am. I think as I kind of progress along, I'm going to have to do an up arrow so I don't orient it the wrong way. But this is my start. I did 229 stitches on this. This is the center right here where some treasures or whatever are going to go. So I figured out where the center was, and then I saw how many stitches the first actual cross stitch was, and counted down to that because it was only like 3 stitches from the center or something. So, and this fabric is plenty big, so even if I was a little off, it's fine. But that's my start. Looks like nothing right now. I did get a little bit of the petite treasure braid in there, so that's fun. It's hard for you to see though. It's like right here. It's like a turquoise color. You can't see it. That's a shame. But anyway, I did realize that there is a dinky dyes for this section because I just wanted to see what colors I needed to get for the middle section. And I thought I had gotten them all, but apparently I missed one of the dinky dyes. I think when I was ordering the, I think what it was that when I was ordering my replacements, like my conversion threads, because there was a few I had to order. The rest of them I had already. They were out of stock for that particular dinky dyes color, so I have to order that still. So it's going to be Classic Colorworks, Silks for You, Dinky Dyes Silk, and Petite Treasure Braid. I keep dropping stuff. And DMC. The DMC is called for. And I have it. So there's that. That's exciting. I do not have the beads or the treasures or anything like that. I was talking to Alara, and I think I might have to actually get those from European Cross Stitch because they will have a proper conversion because all that stuff has been discontinued because that pattern's from 2011. And I just realized I left the papers out. I printed I don't know why I printed the whole thing because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to see the pattern on paper because it's not a good printout. Anyway, it's not a good printout. It prints out very, very tiny. So what I'm doing is I'm working off of the PDF because I bought the PDF from European Cross Stitch. So I have the PDF on my computer. And so when I worked on this, I pulled the PDF up and I just zoomed in like crazy so I could see the symbols. So that's all my whips. So let me break for a second. Let me get my, actually no, real quick, let me, because I have these right here. We're going to draw. Yeah, so I'm going to draw some projects out and then, no, hang on. I'm trying to sort my life out. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're going to update my boards and then draw the projects for like the weekly pulls, and then I'll come back and show my whips for next week. So we're going to do my little one first. So the 3 start-alongs I did, I went ahead and put on the tiny board here because I didn't have enough room on my Focus Pieces board. So, oh my God. First one up is the chatelaine. So they're going to have goals of 3,000 stitches as well. The chatelaine, I did 229 stitches. So this is dropping from 3,000 down to 2,771. Snape's Library, I did 100 stitches. So this is dropping from 3,000 down to 2,900. And then Hawk Run, I also did 100 stitches. So this is also dropping from 3,000 down to 2,900. So these are my two technical stitches for Bake Off. This was the first week that I worked on them because I finished both of my technical stitches last week. So this is the first time I'm working on them. I don't know why I put 4 and 5 right here because I don't have goals for them because my goal is to finish them. But Calendar Girls May, I did 200 stitches. So we're just going to count how many stitches we're doing on them. Grinch Gnome and Company, I did 400. And then A Whole Lot of Latte, my Whip of Shame, I started off the week at 834 stitches. I did another 861, bringing this to 1,695. My goal is 3,100 stitches because there's 31 days in May. So this is dropping from 2,266 down to 1,405. So as you can see, I'm ahead because today's the, wait, am I ahead? I haven't done my stitches for today yet. I might be right on track, maybe just a few stitches ahead, but I'm like on track to meet my goal. So that's good. I just realized today's the 17th. I thought it was the 15th. But yeah, so there's that one. Okay, where do I want to put this? I'll put this over here. Okay, next up is going to be my temperatures. I have them listed out like I did the math already. Thank God. But I did the math already and I have them listed out so I'm not like hunting and pecking for the pieces. So that's why I'm like looking to see what board I wrote down next. Okay, next up is my temperatures. Artist Kitchen started off at 500. I added another 100. These all have goals of 2,000 stitches. So this is going to 600. And the goal is dropping from 1,500 down to 1,400. You guys, yeah, you can see that. Okay. And then the next one up was Mother Nature Spring. Let's see, number 7. So I have them listed because I can't count from 0. That seems weird to me. So I have them 1 through 10, but their temperature is listed in green. Just FYI. Okay, Mother Nature Spring, number 7. I did 100 stitches on this. So this is going from 300 to 400. And the goal is dropping from 1,700 down to 1,600. And then the next one up is Patchwork Quilt Room. This one is going from, I did 100 stitches on this one as well. So this is going from 200 to 300. And the goal is dropping from 1,800 down to 1,700. And Spa Gnome. I did 100 on that one. So this is going from 100 to 200. And the goal is dropping from 1,900 down to 1,800. That's a really crappy 1,800. Hang on. Let me redo that. That's better. Okay. Then the lows. Winter in the Village, this was the first time I got to work on it. So 200 stitches, the goal is dropping from 2,000 down to 1,800. And then the next one I worked on was Sugar Cookie House, number 4. I did 200 stitches on this one, so it is going from 300 to 500. And the goal is dropping from 1,700 down to 1,500. And then the next one I worked on was Merry Christmas. This one got 100 stitches, so it is going from 300 to 400. And the goal is dropping from 1,700 down to 1,600. And then I still haven't got to work on I Love You to Death yet. Cookie Time was the last one. Cookie Time was the last one I worked on, and this one got 200 stitches as well. So this one is going from 100 to 300. And the goal is dropping from 1900 down to 1700. So just real quick again, while I have this board out, what I said at the beginning of the video was I was debating as, like, say, once like Villa Lorna, its goal gets done, instead of replacing it with something else, just have Bee Gnome be both. And then once that one hits the goal, then I'd have you guys vote on a replacement. And as these, either one of these gets the goal done, the other one will drop down and do both of them. And then you guys would just vote on replacements. And I would eventually get back down to just 10 of them. And just do like the highs. Or I could do highs and lows like I'm doing right now. And it's just that if I just don't get to them, I just don't get to them. Y'all tell me what you think. Okay. Then after that, we'll do Monopoly. So I have all my properties on one board. These almost fell. These all have goals of 4,000 stitches. And so these counts will start going up tremendously once they start getting like purchased. So like Christmas ABC, did not get worked on the first time around the board because it's Mediterranean. I have their property assignments in green. But it got purchased finally. And so this got 400 stitches on it. And so this goal is dropping from 4,000 down to 3,600. Once they hit the 4,000, I will replace them with another piece. And what I'm hoping is that some of these projects, as they hit the 4,000, will put them pretty close to it, like the smaller ones, of course, because I got full coverages in here too. Once some of these smaller projects get the 4,000 stitches, then I will be able to put them into the technical stitches for Bake Off to finish them off. And then the other board for my Monopoly pieces, Monopoly game, is my railroads, railroads, utilities, the special spots like visiting jail, landing in jail, like you're in jail, free parking, and go. And then I have 4 cards for community chests that are new starts. Those are separate from my other new start thing. They all have goals of 4,000 stitches. Okay, so on this board, I worked on checking the list. This one just got 100 stitches on it, right? Yeah, this one just got 100 stitches on it. So this goal is dropping from 4,000 down to 3,900. And then it was just 3 pieces. Yeah, just 3 pieces. I keep thinking I worked on 4. And then the other piece I worked on, the final piece I worked on for Monopoly was when the penguin passed go. That was catching rays. I did 200 stitches on it. So this goal is dropping from 4,000 down to 3,800. So that's all for Monopoly. And then the final board for this is my, I call it focus pieces because it kind of is focus pieces. It's my full coverage to get it to 1%. I don't have my black marker. I rubbed off the 1 and the 2. My non-full coverage to get 4,000 stitches on them. My 5 new starts plus the 3 start-alongs. But my 5 new starts that I'll rotate through plus those 3. And then Honeymoon Sunset is down here. Okay, so the one I worked on was Beach Getaway. And it started off at 100 stitches. I did another 218. So this is now at 318. I needed 693 stitches to get it to 1%. I did the 218, so this goal is dropping from 693 down to 475. Getting closer. And then my non-full coverage to get 4,000 stitches, I worked on Christmas Cupcake. I did 200 stitches on it. So this goal is dropping from, it was just 200, right? Yeah. This goal is dropping from 4,000 down to 3,800. And then my new starts cake shop, I did 228 stitches on it. So this is going from 3,000. My new starts, I have goals of 3,000. It's going from 3,000 or whatever that number was, 300 to adding the 228. This is now going to be 528. And the goal is dropping from 2,700 stitches down to 2,472. Not gonna lie, it's kind of bugging me that I now have an odd number on this, but you know what? It's whatever. And then my Honeymoon Sunset. Someone had asked if I could put the percentage on here. Since I know it right off the top of my head right now, we'll go ahead and do this. 39.00%. We'll go ahead. That seems like it's very messy. Hang on. Where can I put this? What if I put it over here? Does that look better? What my current percentage is will increase my percentage every time. So I started off the week at 6,706 stitches done. Now this number here is since my whip parade. I calculated how many stitches I would need from my whip parade to get it to 50% by the end of the year. So this started off, I don't know. I should have mathed it. I could go back and look, but I haven't done that. But I started off with 6,706 stitches. I'm adding 1,368. So this is going from 6,706 up to 8,074 done since my whip parade. And my goal is dropping from 63,424 down to 62,056. The corner of that board poking into my shoulder kind of hurts. Not gonna lie. Okay. I do have 2 more boards that require a different marker. If you know, you know. I got my project board. I got 2 boards actually. Okay. So if you are new, I did have them earlier. I did have them last year at the beginning of the year. If you are new, sorry, I'm like, my shoulder like hurts from having those boards pushing into it. My project board is back. So what I did, if you are new, is past couple years, I've had all my projects listed out on these, project boards that kids use for like science fairs and stuff. And as my goals were getting completed, I would cross them off the board, right? I didn't really do so much of that last year. I was kind of more filling in blocks or whatever, but then I decided to stop doing that. But everyone really loved the project board. So I went through my cross-stitching planner and I wrote down all the projects. I wrote down all the projects that I started off with my new plans. There's 76 total, because what I did was, it's all of my Monopoly whips, all 20 of the temperature pieces, the 5 full coverage focus pieces, the 5 non-full coverage focuses. I have the new starts on here. I did go ahead and add on the new starts from the stitch along, and I do have the finishes that I've done so far this year, because I did start the new plans off with them. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross off, oh my God, we're going to cross off the ones that I have finished. So as the goals get done, as these, and I had to add cookie time at the very end up here because I realized I did not have that listed for some reason. But as these goals get completed, we're going to cross them off of the list on here because you guys love that. And then we will add the replacement underneath. So the ones that we're going to cross off are, and then I have my whip of shame on here too. So at the end of January, we'll cross off. How did I do this before? Oh my God, how did I do this before? I'm out of practice. I have a whole lot of latte up here at the top, and when we do the new whip of shame, I'll cross off a whole lot of latte and we'll write the new whip of shame on there. So every month we'll cross off at least one thing. Okay, so I need to cross off the finishes. Okay. The first one we're going to cross off is number 20. It's hard to see. I don't know how I did this last year. Is this board bigger or something? Like, I don't get this. Number 20, Cupid's Cafe. That was a finish right there. Should I cross off the number 2? Yeah. Because that was a finish. And then up here, can you see it? Calendar Girls September was also a finish. So we'll cross off this one. And I have the replacements in this list as well. As you can see, Calendar Girls May is right above it. Bake the World was my other finish that I did recently. And I just realized I don't have Yippee-Ki-Yay on here. Why didn't I put that on here? Let me write it on here. We're going to write it on to immediately cross it off. Whoops, I'm crossing it off anyway. Yippee-Ki-Yay. Done. There we go. It was fun when I was doing this, when I had like goals of like, oh, 500 stitches here, do this tiny section here. And I would cross them off on my board when I got the goal done, because at the end of the year, I didn't get all of them done, of course, but it looked like a government paper that had been like released to the public, and like lines are blacked out. Okay. So like I said, I will just keep adding to the list. Once that board is full, we'll start a new board. We'll see how full this board is, like with how many goals are crossed off. I may rewrite it onto a whole new board, like rewrite the list on a new board. I don't know, or if I'll just keep adding, I'm not sure. And then I have this one. What's this one for? There's nothing on it except the price or the tag from the store. This one is to write my finishes on. So I may or may not, well, yeah, we'll write $20.25 finishes. So first one up is Yippee-Ki-Yay. If this is your first time watching, go back and watch like my last couple Flosstubes of December and the first one in January. This is when I finished all these pieces, was since my whip parade. Number 2, we'll put Cupid's Cafe. This was a temperature piece that you guys had voted on, and I finished it in like 2 weeks. Or 2 sessions, I think. I did 2 sessions on it for when it was called. Number 3 was Calendar Girls. Yippee-Ki-Yay was a piece that I did for my son. He had requested me stitch it for him, and I started it in August, and I got it done in December, before Christmas. So we were able to give it to him. My mom fully finished it into a pillow, and we gave it to him on Christmas Day. Calendar Girls September. I'm going to do this like that so I can do, if I can, listen to me, so I can do 2 columns of finishes. Bullshit. That's not going to happen. And then number 4 is Bake the World. These 2 pieces were from my technical stitching for Bake Off. There's my finishes. So whenever I finish a piece, we'll update that. Whenever I complete a goal, we'll update the other board. That's fun. Blue's Clues marker is back. Yay! Okay, so let's go ahead and pull my weekly pulls for next week. I don't know if this is full coverage or non-full coverage. If I pull one that I have worked on in the past week or two, I reserve the right to set it aside and pull a different piece. There's a reason why I have so many whips. I don't like working on the same, even though I'm working temperature pieces over and over, but still. Nope, beach getaway. I just did that one. Not happening. This is my full coverage basket, apparently. I always forget which one's which. Rainbow Castle. Okay, and then my non-full coverage for the week is going to be I pulled out two. Shoot. Hang on. Oh, and I like them both. Neither one of them I've worked on recently, so hold on. Let me throw these back in here. I pulled two of them out, and they were stuck together. So hang on. Let's see which one. Let's see which one this one is. Year of Gnomes, June. I think I worked on that one last week, but it's okay. I'll go ahead and work on it again. Okay. And then this one here. The pink is my new starts. The blue that I'm selecting from, not all the new starts I have. The blue are the Whips of Shame. So I'm actually going to pull from both sides because I'm going to pull my new start one first. Because we got to vote for what I'm going to work on in December. Okay, which one's this? Nope, Cake Shop. I just worked on that this week. Friends Frame. Okay. Now, Whip of Shame for the month of February. I need my notebook for this because my Whips of Shame, I think it's 15 of them. I'm going to pull two out of here and I'm going to show you when I go, I'm going to go gather all my whips I got to work on for the week and I'm pull those two out. I'm going to show them to you so you guys can vote in the comments and you have until the end of the month. We'll go over that when I show it. But once I work on it as a Whip of Shame, it's not eligible to be a Whip of Shame for 4 months. Rocky Point is being included in this because Rocky Point is a Whip of Shame, but is currently my jail piece and I'm having to work on it quite a bit. So first one up. So if I pull it out and I have my little thing here. So once it gets pulled, I cross out the next 4 months. So like my current one, Whole Lotta Latte, it will not be eligible to be a Whip of Shame until May. So first one up is going to be Walking to Town. Walking to Town is got 1 more month to not be a Whip of Shame because I did that one in October. First one up, Magnificent Wizard. Next one is going to be, nope, not Rocky Point. Not happening. In Her Garden. Okay. Alara, you're going to have a hard time picking, I feel like. Maybe. I feel like I know which one you're going to vote for, though. Okay, so let me pause here. I'm going to go gather everything up, and I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. All right, so first up, before I talk about plans, we're going to go over the Whips of Shame for the month of February. So, if you are new, You guys are going to vote in the comments down below which one you want to see me work on in the month of February. And I will tally up the votes. I'm okay with not doing a poll. I'm okay with tallying them up with little tally marks. It's fun for me. So you don't have to call it by its title. You could say, like this one is In Her Garden and Magnificent Wizard. So you could say wizard, you could say garden, you could say the lady, you could say the dragon. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to say. I will figure out which one, because they're so different. I will know which one you're talking about. Okay, first up. So I'm going to show you both of the pieces and both of my starting points and kind of go over some similarities and differences between the two. First up is Magnificent Wizard. This is a Dimensions Gold collection. Artwork is done by Don Mates, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. This is being stitched on an 18 count black Aida. I worked on this before, and somebody had commented and said that they had done this piece too, and it turns out really, really good. But they had a hell of a time with the dragon. They kept having to frog stitches out. I was like, oh, thank God you did, because I was working on this last year. I was working on the dragon's head, and I kept having to rip stitches out. I kept miscounting. I was like, I thought it was just me. I was like, so I nixed the dragon and moved on to something else. But yeah, I was like, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who is having issues with the dragon. But this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And like I said, I'm doing it with everything in the kit. I've done this for a whip of shame last year. I don't remember when though. But this is my starting point with it. So, sorry for the noise. Let me back up a little bit here. There we go. So this is my starting point with it. The dragon head up here, I kept having to rip stitches out. So I just backed up to where I knew was correct, and then I just stopped and moved on to something else. But yeah, so this is my starting point. When I did this before as a whip of shame, I was focusing a lot in this section up here. But yeah. And this curve kind of down this way is the dragon's wing coming down. No back stitching completed on this yet. If this wins, I might try to work on some of that, maybe. Little bits here and there. But yeah. If this wins, I will continue working in this area up here because I made a working copy of a section of the chart. And that is where I have marked that I have completed stuff. So I would continue in this area up here. Let me see where. So if this wins, I think there's a little bit more that needs to go up here. No, this is the top up here. So if this wins, I would continue with the stitches that are here, and I would finish this area here, continue working down the wing. Basically, it would be from this area right here. This is where it would stop. And then the bottom is right about there. So I would continue working in this section, and yeah. If that section got completed, I would go ahead and do back stitching too. So that probably would take up the entire, I don't even know if this would be completed with the 3,000. If I did the back stitching in the parts that I could in the wing and the wizard's head. But that would be the area that I would work on. If it got completed, I still had stitches to do on it, I probably will make a copy of this part down here because it's a lot of like, oh no, it's his robe. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if once that gets done, I don't know if I would come across here and tackle that head that's been giving me issues. Maybe I'll do that and then I can finish this part and then work down. I don't know. But this is where I definitely will work on because that's where I have my stuff highlighted. so I know where I'm at. And this area doesn't have a lot of back stitching, so I would like to try to do all that before I move on to another spot and not save the back stitching for last, like I tend to do. So that is Magnificent Wizard. I don't know why I put that back in there because I wanted to show you side by side too. Next up for Whip of Shame Contender is another Dimensions Gold collection, and this one is In Her Garden. It's designed by Sandy Cuck. And that's what she's going to look like when she's done. I'm doing this on an 18 count Aida as well. This one is in Ivory. I didn't do this as a Whip of Shame, but I did work on this, and I don't remember why. It was last year, because I have a lot more on it than I did at the start of 2024. But I don't remember what made me work on it so much. But this is my starting point on her. Not a whole lot done, as you can tell. I do not have a working copy of this pattern, so I will have to make a copy of it. Do I have a working copy? Oh wait, I do. So if this one wins, I will mainly be working in the background. Mainly be working in the background part, working on this up here, because it's a lot of background. So I'll probably mostly work up here and start working on her, because I have about cuts off her face, the part of the page I have copied, it goes into like her back and her hair, and it cuts off her like right in the middle of her cheek. So I could at least get the cross stitching done. I probably wouldn't do the back stitching on her, like all of her hair, until I got more done of it, like the rest of the front of her head. But yeah, it would mostly be like background stuff, and yeah. So I'm fine. Like sometimes you get them and you're like, you'd rather work on one over the other. I'm fine with either one. I have no preference one way or the other. So they're both Dimensions Gold collections. They're both big. I'd say Magnificent Wizard is probably further along than In Her Garden is. Magnificent Wizard is on black Aida. In Her Garden is on ivory Aida. She's actually a full coverage. I didn't realize that. This one's not. So that's the difference. This one's on ivory. It's a full coverage. This one is on black. It is not a full coverage. And like I said, you don't have to decide right now because you have until the end of the month. I will announce my final Flosstube of January is actually going to be January 31st, and that's when I will announce the winner. Which is really exciting because I'll be able to do my January end of the month recap on February the 1st because I will not have my kids that weekend. Here's the two side by side. So y'all let me know which one you want to see me work on in the month of February. And the winner will get 2,800 stitches on it because there's 28 days in February. Okay, now let me put these back where they're supposed to go. In Her Garden, In Her Garden, In Her Garden, In Her Garden. My working copy, my cover photo, my whip goes in the correct bag. Make sure I don't mix these up. Wizard, 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 wizard. Okay. And I will show these again in next week's Flosstube as well as a reminder, also for anyone who missed this week's. Okay. I'll probably show those at the beginning of next Flosstube, just in case. Okay, let's go over plans. First up will be Monopoly stitching, the ones that I was not able to get to this week. The cat had landed on Ventnor, and it's still the cat's first time around the board. So whatever it lands on until it passes go will be 100 stitches, and I'm grabbing the wrong one. So this one is going to be Halloween Calendar by Tiny Modernist. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. I will go over fabric and what I'm using to stitch and all of that when I show it in next week's video. Look how pretty that fabric is, huh? Love it. Okay, so you're gonna get to stare at this for a minute because I need to pull this up on Pattern Keeper so I can tell you, because I do have it in Pattern Keeper, so I can tell you my starting percentage. This is really more for my reference if I forget to write it down. I'm starting off at 700 stitches completed out of 16,482. I am at 4.16%. I will keep working in this block, I will say that. It'll be 100 stitches for this. And then, so that will be for the cat. Here's my bag. Oh my God, what's happening? It's where I keep all my whips in. So I throw them all in the bag, and then as I pull them out, I put them on my little rolly cart. And so it's really fun when I do get to work on everything to watch this bag get emptier and emptier. I got this, before anyone asks, I got this at Barnes & Noble like 500 years ago. It was on clearance because it's got like this little fur thing and they were selling it at Christmas time. I got it like the week after Christmas for 75% off because they called it a Christmas bag. And it's great. I've had it for years. It's wonderful. Okay, so then the next up is the dog. And the dog rolled doubles a second time to get out of jail. Well, no, the dog was rolling a second time to get out of jail. It needed to roll doubles and it did not. So I will need to do another 200 stitches on Rocky Point. This was that whip of shame that I pulled out and I was like, no, not happening, because I have it as my jail piece right now. This is my starting point. I will keep working in the house over here. I'll probably keep working in the house trying to get that done. But this will get 200 stitches. And then the duck landed on Pacific, and this is still the duck's first time around the board, so this will be getting 100 stitches. This is Halloween Letters by Primrose Cottage Stitches by Lindsay Waite. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I feel like I have to burp. I've been drinking my water between takes, like when I'm like, I'll be right back because I have to get something, and I go ahead and like drink some of my water, but I'm drinking like a carbonated water. So now I feel like I have to burp. Okay, this is my starting point for Halloween Letters. So this will need 100 stitches. So my plan for this one is going to be to, all that's left on this bottom line is the black that's in the candies here, and then the white that goes in the treats right here. And then this line will be done. So once I get that, I will move up to the next line up here, which is, I do not know because I covered it up. October 31st will be up there. So I'll get started on that one. And then the final thing that I will need to work on for Monopoly is going to be the last piece for the penguin, which was the second property that it purchased after it had rolled doubles twice. It had landed, the third roll was not doubles, and it landed on Oriental Avenue, which is Christmas Reindeer. This is by MP Studio. It's a Russian company. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. So to purchase this, I need to do 400 stitches on it. And my mom doesn't like this piece. She's like, it's all right. Bet she's going to love it when it's done. This is my starting point. And I think I'm going to do my 400 stitches. I think I'm going to continue. Maybe I can get this ear done right here. I got tired of working on the antler up here, so I kind of moved on. I wanted to kind of work on the face a little bit, but I'm either going to do the ear or I'm going to work down the face and maybe do the eye. Because I think this, is that the eye right there? I don't know. It's going to be down here somewhere. I know that. We'll see. We'll see where I work. But 400 stitches for that. Okay, so that is Monopoly. Temperatures. So for the temperature pieces, just a real quick recap. Let me put my little meteorologist hat on. Starting with tomorrow. So the stitches I didn't get to last week, we ain't worrying about them. We're going to move on to greener pastures. Starting with the 18th, and this is going through the 23rd, which I think is the next day I'm going to film. Starting with the 18th, Saturday the 18th, a high of 71, a low of 53. The 19th is a high of 74 and a low of 54. The 20th is a high of 67 and a low of 47. The 21st is a high of 61 and a low of 46. The 22nd is a high of 66 and a low of 51. And the 23rd is a high of 72 and a low of 55. So for the highs, that means that temperature number 1 will get 200 stitches for the 18th and the 21st. And I have piled this incorrectly. There we go. 21st, this is going to be Artist's Kitchen. I've already shown you the cover photo before, this piece here. So I'm starting off at 2,418 stitches out of 182,696. I'm at 1.32%, and I feel weird not showing the cover photo, so I'm going to show it again. That one there. And then temperature number 2 for the highs will get 100 stitches for the 23rd. And number 2 is Sweet Bee. This is by Stitch Rovia. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And that is my starting point. I think I might work up here. So I just need to do 100 on it. And I can't really like backstitch around this part here right now because there's stuff that comes off the sides. And I don't want to backstitch that line until I get those stitches. So, okay. And then temperature number 4 came up on the 19th for a high of 74. And this one is going to be my Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure that I'm doing for my younger son. This is a mock-up of the parchment outlines. It's a Stitch Your Own Adventure, so every piece is going to be different. I'm doing this 3 times, but the one I'm working on right now is for my son. Maybe I will break down, bust out my computer, and work more on his house flag. That's my starting point. And this just needs 100 stitches on it. Okay. And then number 6 needs 100. What is it? Is it, yeah, Mother Nature Spring. This one here. And that's my starting point. So I'm going to try to see if I can get the top part of her head filled in. That's near the flower wreath. So I can backstitch that flower wreath, and then maybe I'll start working my way up this way. It only needs 100 stitches, which goes pretty quick. So we'll see what ends up happening. And then the final one for the highs is number 7, which is Patchwork Quilt Room. And then if you don't follow me normally, once I hit the goal of 2,000 stitches, I will show you the before and the after to show you how much this stuff adds up. Like the before when I started the 2,000 stitches. So that is Patchwork Quilt Room. And that's my starting point. I'm going to continue working block by block, but going down the page and just wherever the stitches go. These are hanging because I just wanted to like kind of fill in the side of it there. So I park those threads, and then as I get to those columns, I'll work those threads in. I'm starting off at 7,159 stitches out of 343,000. I am at 2.09%, and this will get 100 stitches. And the bottom of the page is about there. So I think I might be able to get the column here filled in. Maybe, it depends on how far those stitches go or the threads go. But I should be able to get the column done, and then I'll move into the next column and kind of keep filling in that way. Okay, so that's the highs. For the lows, number 1 is going to get 100 stitches, and this one is Hiding Place, right? Yeah, Hiding Place. This is by the Cross Stitch Studio. I will go over details next week, but this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I have more on the other side, but this is my starting point. The fabric is stained from tea that I spilled on it, so I guess you could call it tea dyed. But the fabric is stained, I know that, and I don't care. But this will get 100 stitches, so I'll keep working these parked threads in, working in this diagonal. Okay, and then number 3 is Sugar Cookie House again. I was making sure I was looking at the right week. Okay. Sugar Cookie House by Mill Hill. And this one is going to get 100 stitches on it. There's my starting point. So we'll see what I do on this. I'm not sure where I'm going to work. We'll see what I do. Next up is number 4, which is Merry Christmas again. And this one it out of the bag. That one there. Just a reminder of my starting point for that. I'm going to keep working in the snowman and I'm going to like get him completed, back stitching and everything before I move on to the next letter. But he will get another 100 stitches. Fighting with this thing. Okay. Next one is number 5. You guys voted on this one and you have not gotten to see it get worked on yet, so this is exciting. Dropped my card and it went under the couch. That's okay because I know what it is. This one is from Stitchman Darcy on Etsy. This is I Love You to Death. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And that's my starting point. I'm starting off at 3,028 stitches done out of 9,401. I am at 32.21%. So I need to fill in his head. He looks like a basketball right now up at the top. But I need to fill in that part of his skull right there. And then the skull itself will be done. So maybe I'll do that. But yeah, that's my starting point. Okay, so this will get 100. And then number 6 will also get 100. I'm saying will, like I'm going to get all this done. If I don't get to them, I don't get to them. I'll even prioritize which ones get worked on too. Like out of all these temperature pieces, I'll work on I Love You to Death first because I haven't gotten to work on that one yet. Next up is Ocean's ABC from Designworks. And this is my starting point. I'm working in the G block right now. These pieces, I want to have their stitching and back stitching completed before I move on to the next one. So I'll keep working in this one here. So this will get 100. And then the last one up is number 7. And this is Reasons Someone Smiles by Stitch Rovia. Well, Emma Congdon. It's out of one of her books. She stitched Rovia on Etsy. It's out of Cross Stitch for the Heart. This one here, it says, Be the Reason Someone Smiles Today. And that's my starting point. So this will get 100 stitches on it. Not sure where I'm going to work on this because I said last time I did work on it, I said I was going to work in one spot and I ended up doing something completely different. So I don't know where I'm going to work on it. But this will get 100. So that's all my temperature stitching that I may or may not be able to get to. Okay. Weekly Bake Off. So I'm going to be doing the final week of the most recent season of Bake Off. And so week number 10. So how I decided to do I'm still like if they get handshakes it's still 500, but what I decided to do instead of doing the eliminated player and the star baker, I'm going to just do the star baker and double the stitch count. So week number 10, there were no handshakes in week 10. The star baker, well, the winner, Honeymoon Sunset, just a reminder. The winner of that season had a stitch count assigned to them of 1,000 stitches. And so I'm doubling that. And Honeymoon Sunset will get 2,000 stitches on it. So I will continue working in the diagonal here, getting it filled in. So that's my starting point. Maybe I'll do it like that. And so I am starting off at, sorry, when I pulled up the pattern, Pattern Keeper was like having to math it out. I'm starting off at 219,935 out of 563,981. I am at 39.00%. So this one is slated to get 2,000 stitches. Unless it's going to be like a redonkulous number, I would like to try to get my bake-off stitching completed every week. So that, because like I was saying, I'm trying to push to get this to 50%. And so I was, at first I was like, well, if it's too much, I'll just do it over 2 weeks. But then I was like, well, that's only going to be like 600 to 700 a week, maybe. And I don't want to fall behind on that. Okay, and then there was a technical bake in the last episode. There were 3 bakers, so it's going to be 3 times 50 and 3 times 100. The person who came in last in the technical bake had an odd stitch count assigned to them, so that is going to be Grinch Gnome and Company. That one there. I'm going to continue working in the little Grinch Gnome. And so 3 times 50 is going to be 150 stitches on this one. I'm starting off at 1,638 stitches out of 5,472. I'm at 29.93%. So this will get 150. And then the person who came in first in technical had an even stitch count assigned to them. And so that is going to be Calendar Girls May. That one there. So 3 times 100 is going to be 300 stitches. That's going to get me a good ways because 300 stitches goes really far in these little pieces. That's my starting point. I'm hoping that the 300 will get me almost completed on her, but I still have to do the side bit over here. But I'm hoping that will get me almost completed on her. Maybe. Probably. We'll see. And then once I get these stitches done, then we'll kick off collection 5. That'll be fun. Okay. All right, so that's my bake-off stitching. Then we have the weekly polls. So my Whip of Shame, just a quick reminder of where I'm starting off. So my Whip of Shame, Whole Lotta Latte, this will get 100 stitches a day for the next week until Thursday. This one will definitely stay caught up because if I fall behind on this piece, as much as I hate working on it, I don't know why I hate working on it either. Like, I just don't like working on it. It's like, but this will get 100 stitches a day. And then my new start that I had pulled to work on is this little Friends frame. Not sold on the colors of it, but it's whatever. It was $1.74. Originally sold for $6.99. For $6.99. That's redonkulous for this thing. because it's very bright orange and very bright yellow, and it's printed, and the print is off from how it's kind of gridded out. So I'm kind of having to play it by ear how I work on this, but we'll see how many stitches I can get done on this. I've only done, I was estimating 100 because when I did, it's probably more than 100 is what I've done. But I was working on this during my lunch break at work when I started it. And so I wasn't really counting stitches because I was just trying to get work done on it. So, but I'm estimating 100. So I still need, for the goal to be done, it's going to be 2,900 stitches, but I know it's not going to be 2,900 stitches to get it done. So this will be finished before the goal gets completed. And then the full coverage for the week to get it to 1% is going to be Rainbow Castle from Heaven and Earth Designs. I gotta find it on here, hang on. Oh, how I wish this could be alphabetized. Here we go. Rainbow Castle. This is a max color version. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. It is not that saturated, it is that bright. It is a very brightly colored piece. I am just working up in the boring ass corner that is kind of dark right now. That's my starting point. That's my starting point. I am starting off at 3,098 stitches done out of 405,900, and I am at 0.76%. The goal for this to get it to 1% is going to be another 961 stitches. That will not get done this week, but I will see how many I can get done. Okay. And then the final piece I'm going to show you is my non-full coverage to get 4,000 stitches. And this is Year of Gnomes June. This is the Year of Gnomes, I think she calls it Gnome a Month now on her Etsy shop, from Cross Stitch for Everyone. That's what he's going to look like when he's done. And this is not what it's my starting point right here. Here's Mr. Whiskers. He's the one that was throwing a fit before I started filming, crying forlornly at the door because he wanted to go out back, and I wouldn't take him out because it's dark and he's dark. And now he's like, as soon as I hit record and I said that, then he got all quiet. But here's my baby. But he really likes going outside, especially when it's cold out. My boy. Okay. He just like, he was walking by and I'm like, okay. Your Gnomes June. This is my starting point. I am starting off at 709 stitches completed out of 4,672. I am at 15.18%. To complete this goal of 4,000 stitches, I still need another 3,796. So, yeah. I was sitting there looking back and forth and I'm like, wait, something's not mathing. When I hit the goal of 4,000 stitches on it, this was the May one, by the way. I finished this one last year. I have them all, like I'm working on them all like a piece, like the same piece, you know, so these are like 2 others I've started. May right now is sitting by itself because I started it in the middle. And so I've got to figure out which gnomes I can put on the around it because some of them are bigger than others. But yeah, that's my May gnome. But anyway, when I had pulled this to be my non-full coverage piece, I realized that when I hit the 4,000 stitches, I had already had like 100 on it, I think, or something like that. And no, I had more than that. I had like 500 on it. And so I realized when I hit 4,000, it was going to put it at about 4,500, and it's 4,672. So it's only going to be, it's going to be less than 200 stitches to get it finished. So I will just go ahead and finish it off. So that'll be another one that will basically get finished when the goal gets done. So those are my plans. So my focus is what I'm going to kind of prioritize. I want to get bake-off stitching completed. I'm going to get my Monopoly stitch. Those are my two priorities, are bake-off and Monopoly. I like the weekly and the Whip-A-Shame, of course. The weekly pulls, I'm going to do at least 100 on them. I'd like to do more if I could. We'll have to see how that goes. And temperature stitching is going to be extra if I can get to it. I will say that if I even only do one temperature, I mean, I'm going to do more than one, but if I only get to one temperature piece, it will be I Love You to Death, because that's the one piece that I've pulled so far that I have not been able to work on. Well, that I've pulled for this week that has not gotten work on it since I started doing temperatures. Here's my bag now. This is all, it's like packed full. These are all the whips I got to work on this week over the next, like, what, 6 days? That's what I'm saying. It ain't all going to get done. So I got to prioritize what I'm going to work on. But that's it. Don't forget to vote for the Whip-A-Shame for the month of February in the comment section down below. I may or may not try to do a stitch with me. Or maybe, yeah, I don't know. A few people have commented saying they'd like to see how I stitch in hand. So that's what I was like trying to think of how maybe I could do a stitch with me. My stitch with me is some stitching in hand. If you go watch those, I haven't posted one in a while. Maybe I should talk about food again. Anyway, any questions? Ask down below. If you like what you had to see and you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. And that's it. So take care, happy stitching, get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.